Yes. So what you have here is the sounds of cause and effect. Cause and effect. It sucks whenever you say things and then all of a sudden it's put out there where people can hear it. You know, in other words, this Hambeast is a misinformation expert, according to the headline that I ran across. So this was a headline by CNN. This misinformation expert is being scrutinized by an owner of a company who noticed that her posts on his platform openly calling for really bad things to happen to people like Tesla companies and stuff like that, Tesla owners. They throw the argument around. Oh, you know, you boycotted the Bud Lights and you didn't care if anything happened to the people. Well, nobody like busted the window out of a car or did some kind of like kinetic damage. Nobody went to a store and just immediately started breaking cases of Bud Light open and busting them on the floor. And, there was the only thing that the people just did, they just didn't buy it. They just said, I just don't want to buy it. And it was quite effective because they realized their base. And the funny thing is like the base that hates Tesla doesn't have any money, so they don't buy anything. So they couldn't just boycott Tesla with a monetary effect. They could say, "We're just not going to buy your Tesla." That would be fine. You're not buying them anyways. You're driving your parents' Tesla around that let you borrow, so that you can go buy it to the methadone clinic, pick up your friend, and buy him Starbucks afterwards. And so, so their answer was, well, fine, then we'll just start making it where people don't want Teslas. We'll start burning them down and we'll do things that are really bad. So it makes people not buy them that actually are buying them, which is a very violent way of doing this thing. And it's not a protest. That's domestic terrorism. And you have a leader of that right here, this big, huge effing Hambeast right here. And I have a video of her, doing the veiled threats, the veiled call for violence right here. Check it out.
Last thing I want to say is that I study memes. And the most obvious meme nobody's talking about is Elon's black hat. And he thinks of himself as this black hat hacker that's broken into the government and socially engineered his way into the treasury. And he's going to abscond with all the data. It's an obvious data heist. But he believes he's living a meme. And so we need to be very clear about what our demands are, about what our bright lines are, and that we're not going to stop until Tesla is done with Musk. Thank you.
I'll just read through some of the things that this Hambeast talks about in the article. It says here that a wave of violent attacks has unfolded in recent months on Tesla's dealerships, but the protest movement Donovan helped create in February was always meant to be an alternative to violence. Okay, yeah, right. Not to mention, she told CNN, this was CNN by the way, she says, I was appalled to see the property damage that was on the rise in the vandalism around Tesla. So one of my major goals was to figure out a way a public tactic that would other people can feel safe participating in it to Tuesday. But none of that whole thing that she was in that Zoom call with all the other violent protesters did she ever call for people to be nonviolent. But also, she says, now that the ferocity of the response targeting Donovan as assistant professor of journalism, right on, and emerging media studies at Boston University has yielded death threats and forced her to take security precautions. She says some of Donovan's academic colleagues have been threatened too. And the Boston University no longer displays her work email address online, she added. Well, I'm thinking good. Because she's done some shit. This Hambeast right here sits behind her computer in her cat house and, calls for all this bad stuff to happen to people and then thinks that there's nobody's that you can just do this. I think that this should be a lesson learned. Our side, whenever we talk about something, if we ever think that it can be misinterpreted as a violent maneuver, we always say politically, legally, with your voice, with your vote. We always reiterate that so there's no confusion because our side isn't violent. We don't want to do any harm. Whenever we boycott something or we protest something, the only thing that they could ever say was violent was the January 6th thing. And if you actually know the ins and outs, it's all hijacked by bad actors, which then created a very bad situation if you were on our side did violent, I don't want you doing that. And you need to be, dealt with, but legally. See how that works? But, so far as, getting out in numbers and showing you what we feel like is right, we always do that in a very nonviolent way and very inclusive, by the way. We will take people from the other side and not berate them for being on the other side. If If you are on her side and you decide to go over and then kind of, fraternize with the other side, you get called out, screamed at, called names, racists, Uncle Toms, you name it. We don't do that over here. We don't do that. So you'll find out soon enough, Lefty, if you're watching this video, hate watching what I do, that our side is nonviolent and very, very, very much inclusive, considering what we've seen from your side. By the way, a quick video that I'll take us out on. Here is this Hambeast's son. Yes, I have found her son. and it's that what do you call it? That what was that that Gorlock. Yeah, check this out.
I'm not a big fan of toxic masculinity or like whatever, like the norms, I guess. But I like when there's just like a little bit of that, like I'm the man and I'm gonna take charge, you know? Like, cause like why not, you know?